Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you my layout and challenge for National Scrapbook Day for Spiegelmom Scraps. My challenge is titled Make That Sketch Sparkle. So using this sketch here, all you have to do is add some sequins to it and submit it by the end of the month for one of 4 prizes that Jody's giving away. I used this picture of my son and his new girlfriend, his first girlfriend. The requisite of them being allowed to go was that they had to take a selfie. And so I used these papers and some sequins from Spiegelmom Scraps and put together this layout based on the sketch. I used this collection from Paige Evans, and I pulled out the particular pieces that I wanted with the aqua color. Actually, it's more tealy color, the yellow, and that darker floral there. And I matched that with sequins from Summer Paradise and Be True to You. I took out the pinks in the Be True to You and just used a little more of the yellow because those were the colors that I had in my layout. So the sketch has a large background piece, which I used for the yellow, or I used the yellow for, and then I used that green floral as one of the banners, and then this aqua as the other banner. And I decided to back my picture. I don't think I printed it with enough white. Actually, I wasn't originally going to, but then I decided that I wanted the white and as a background for the picture, but I would use the same size white on the other banner in order to put my sequence title and or journaling. So there's the foundation of the layout. I used the back of one of those pieces as a side down the left-hand side of that large background piece, and I decided to use my American Craft punches to just punch that out to give it a little bit more texture to the page. These are easy. I love them because you can have a bunch of punches but not have to carry around a bunch of punches, but just the inserts into them. So I wanted that dark border on the left-hand side of the page because it is a nice contrast to the dark banner that I put on the right-hand side of the page, and I thought it moved your eye from the left to the right on the page and tied the two together. So I'm just attaching that and trimming off the top, and I'm going to secure that down to just the plain white background piece. Sorry, the mat is crooked. I think my camera must have shifted. So in order to create these banners, I decide the length that I want, and I just draw a line and trim that off. And then, and I did the same thing on both, just because I knew they were both going to be the same length banner. And I chose how high I wanted the top of that banner bottom. Does that make sense? Banner bottom to go, and just fussy cut that. And then just for symmetry, I drew in the lines from the other one and cut that as well. So here I've decided to move the picture to that outer edge because I like the contrast of the dark picture on the dark banner better. And I'm not sure why I'm shuffling things around there. So you can see I pulled out the sequins, and originally I did just start with that True to Be You color, but I wanted a lot more yellow than what is in the collection there. So you'll see in a minute that I pull out the collection that has a lot more yellow in it called Summer Paradise. And so all I've got here is I've got some thread and my needle, and I'm just poking the sequins through the middle and pulling it down on the thread. So here I am pulling out a little bit more yellow for the collection. And I've speed this up quite a bit because I spend a fair amount of time getting the sequins on here. So they kind of become a shaker banner kind of like deal. And my original plan had them to be hanging a little bit so that they were kind of swoopy, if I could use that word. And so I just use my artist tape because artist tape is acid free, to anchor the the thread to the back of my cardstock, and so I'm putting a bunch more on the other side of the thread to then initially I decided to crisscross it, and it took me a while to configure the sequins the way that I wanted it. You'll see in a second that I ultimately end up going in and using my Scotch glue to individually glue down a few of these sequins, because they do tend to bulk towards one end of the string the way that I had the string anchored from high to low, and you'll see what I mean by that when I'm finished with the sequins here. So just putting the sequences away and clearing up my workspace so that I can go in and make them. I am a little bit type A, highlighted, bolded, and underlined, i.e. a lot. And so I can't have the sequins sliding around on the thread and do go in and, like I said, anchor a few of those down. And I have to use my tweezers because my fingers get all stuck with glue, and so I'm just spacing them around, and the tweezers help me to not get my finger stuck to the sequins, so that when I lift off my finger, the sequins comes with me. It was a bit of a debacle initially, but we got this down. I really love the banner there, and the sequins colors are perfect for adding sequins to this particular collection, especially the colors that I chose to use in the pattern paper here. So you can see this is a bit of a laborious, time-consuming process, but it's well worth the work and the effort, because it really does come out rather festive in the end. So I just am going to continue to get that the way that I want, and then I'm going to I pull out some of my shimmers, because my initial plan, I had coordinated the colors with some shimmers as well, was to include some mixed media on the layout, but it really, there's enough going on, and that I really didn't need any mixed media in this particular layout. So now it's time to pull out some embellishments and decorate these banners. That picture has a fairly large gap on that top left-hand corner between the edge, and I wanted something to fill out that white space, so that flower is perfect. And because I've used the flower, I wanted a little bit of a wispiness coming out of die cut off the left-hand side of that top left banner as well. So I found this piece of pattern paper with sort of the green in it, and I thought it made a nice topper and a more darker solid to the top of that white piece of paper that I was going to use within the lighter teal banner. And I love that word love, and decided that that was definitely going to be part of my title, but I knew there were other things I wanted to include, so I had to scrummage around a little bit to find those other things that I wanted. I decided that I want a very thin layer of that same floral green. It's a rather stark, or I wanted a starker contrast between that light and the dark there. So committing and anchoring these things down. It's much easier to get your embellishments where you want them when you've really got things anchored down. I tend to build lots and lots of layers and then go to recreate the layout and adhere things down, and things get shifted. So if you are able to put things down as you're going, things get a lot less shifted. I decided to use some foam on the back of that ripped piece just to give a little pop, and it is a nice contrast to the depth of love in the foam sticker. So now I'm playing around with bits and pieces that I pulled that have all of the same colors, and I'm just deciding. I wanted to put YoungLove, and I knew that, and I just was trying to figure out what letters I was going to do. I really thought I was going to use these Pink Fresh Studio letters that came in a Cocoa Daisy kit, but the Young doesn't really stand out enough for me, so I go through the effort of laying them down. And I thought I pulled them up, but actually no, I think that's what I stick with. Sorry about that. So yep, I like that flower there, but I want a circle to cover the hole, because that hole is annoying to me. So I pulled out these puffy stickers from Elle Studio, and I found these hearts that I really liked, because YoungLove, of course you need hearts, right? So I got distracted and didn't find the circle that I was looking for in the middle of that flower. And there you go. You saw me pointing to it. So I actually pulled out the flowers or the puffy stickers that came with this collection and found the perfect flower to put in the center of the flower. So that's the layout. If you decide to scrap at Spiegelmom Scraps this weekend, if you use the code Suzanna15, you get 15% off. And here's a couple of close-ups to follow. I hope you're inspired to play along in the challenge. We'd love to see what you do. Have a great weekend.